How's it going? Today's 5th of March, Tuesday, and we're taking a look at the market, what kind of opportunities are available in the city. Yeah. We're gonna be taking a look at councils, right? So I need to understand how many councils are in UK, and I need to pretty much know what's happening in every single council, right? I was trying to think about the process of how to do it, right? First, we need to understand how many counters are there. It might be 200, if you would ask, perhaps more than that. So in this video, perhaps there might be 300. Perhaps even more than that. So this is what we're gonna be doing in this video. We're gonna try to poke a little bit of fun, have uh, as well as cover a lot of ground when it comes to consoles, right? So most likely I will be taking a look at business support every single console and what I might be able to find. By the end of the day, I'm gonna be taking a look at business support within the console, and I will be subscribing to all these services with 318 consoles. I think it might be depending, right? Some of those might change or undergo changes. Some of those might be more I might need to subscribe just to direct one. Why not be broken down in so much detail? But either way, as well as I'm most likely gonna be looking to subscribe to services and newsletters within entire UK if I can. So it's something I'm looking to do. It's kind of boring. The entire task is very boring, and it's not necessarily would yield any results. There's also we'll see. But either way, let's take a look at local government facts and figures. England. Let's try to understand it. Okay, so in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at local government facts and figures, England, as well as fun facts about local government. These people themselves really do understand how boring it can be, and even they are trying to make it a little fun, I guess, from entire situation. We can take a look at that as well. Isle of Sicily Council is the smallest local authority in population with 2.1 thousand. Okay. They are producing a lot of greens, right, or veggies. Some of the garlic has been sold within that area, right? As well as there's a lot of funding made available. I think they're working together with the Cornwall Authority. So that's my limited research, doing a little bit of civic council, like ISO of Scilly. Or see, I would like to say Sicily, but it's not. But either way, Kent Country Council is the largest local authority by population with over 1.5 million as of 2021. Right, so this information might be accurate. Take a look at that, and it might be 3 years old information. The most changeable council is probably London. Okay. Since 1964, control has passed between Labour, Conservative. Oh, okay. Well, it's not that interesting, right? Quickly, right? Because the entire video is not gonna be that interesting. I have a feeling, right? We can take a look at what's happening in Germany, right? Because some of the companies are struggling when it comes to sourcing some of the components. I was taking a look at something yesterday. That will be Tesla, and we have opened a new factory in Germany, and they're struggling with sourcing some of the components when it comes to manufacturing of cars. We can take a look at that briefly. Then we're gonna come back to doing something very, very boring or not that interesting, right? I was trying to pull more up-to-date data when it comes to England, right? And what type and how, based on geographical location as well as governance, how England would be broken down to, right? That would be metropolitan districts 36, London boroughs 32 plus City of London. Uh, Unitary Authority 62 of theirs, County Council is 21, District Council is 164. It might be entire, I think, might be 317, right? and I would need to reach out. Every single one of those might have, if not, they might have newsletters, right? Or there might be business support options available, right? Let me take a look at how I can engage with the 317 teams, right? So that might be not that interesting, right? Before we do that, let's take a look at some of the car manufacturers in Europe, right? Let's take a look at it. It might be allegedly, right? So not necessarily that's what's as of now been confirmed, but either way, there was an article published 24 minutes ago that Tesla's German plant halts output after suspected arson nearby. I don't know if it's accurate arson. Something I was taking a look at yesterday that we do not have all the parts. I don't know what the people are doing. We can take a look at what's happening, and from there we can come back to the reading or trying to chart all the councils. Actually, Berlin, Frankfurt, March 5th. So just less than a half an hour ago. The company's name, which doesn't really matter that much, I guess, if it will be negatively affected. If anything, why we can, I'd like to understand why we cannot manufacture all the parts in house. I thought that's the thing with Tesla. This is what's been outlined. Some of the books that I have read that they prefer to manufacture everything in house. In perhaps not this particular organization, but overall when it comes to space, all of those kind of things, components, everything would be manufactured in house. So that's myself coming into it, right? So I'm trying to understand have we shifted and outsourcing that, but either way, European gigafactory near Berlin halted production and was left without power after suspected arson attacks set electricity pile a blaze close to the site nearby on Tuesday. The blaze southeast of the German capital, which did not spread on the Tesla side. The U.S. Electric vehicle market first manufacturer plant in Europe was extinguished by the fire police said. So I don't know, So perhaps nothing's been confirmed, by the way. So that's not the reason why I'm reading it, right? A Tesla spokesperson confirmed production has stopped and the site evacuated. Tesla's Frankfurt listed share were down 2.8%. Yeah, that's not what we're looking to do yet. That's okay. It was the latest setback for Tesla, which has been a bumpy ride in Europe of late, facing union pressures for collective bargaining agreements in the Nordics and or supply disruptions and a result of attacks on shipping Red Sea. I heard a little bit of that. That would be disruptions in the supply chain as well as a lot of things happening in the area where we're looking to extend in the Nordic. So we have some of us sales and the orders might come from that, right? So I think it's not the reason why I'm looking to follow people. Instead of reducing sales, let's increase if I can, but it doesn't really matter. Germany has championed new big tech foreign investments at the time when European largest economy is facing recession and grappling with a higher inflation and weaker foreign demand. Okay, well it doesn't really matter. So we're not coming back to what's really happening. We're just projecting, right? Well, I'm trying to understand what happened, right? I don't need to take a look at the market. I don't. We will be confirming media reports that bomb the disposal unit has been deployed after emergency services found sign saying ordnance bird here. The things are getting out of control, if you would ask me. Okay, that's not the reason why I'm reading. I'm reading to understand how overall performance of the market, right, the car manufacturers and why they have stopped manufacturing some of those components in house. That's one reason why I'm reading it, but that's not necessarily what they're looking to cover within this article. Might be a waste of time. Let's come back to something boring, I guess. Well, let's come back to councils, right? It might be important, not necessarily that interesting, right? Councillors. Councillors are elected to represent people in different geographical areas for a fixed term of 4 years, unless elected by an election, in which case the time will be shortened. Councillors have been balanced in need and interests of residents. I don't get it. I don't get it, right? But I'm trying to understand who is electing those people and how they've been elected. It's something myself I'm looking to understand. Voters, political parties, and councillors. Councillors dedicate, decide on the overall directions of the policy. Councillors offers then implement these policies in initiatives and they're responsible for delivering services on a daily basis, right? I mean, that either way, that's not the official government's document, right? So it doesn't really matter, but overall, so they not necessarily outline full scope of responsibilities and election process. It's not what they're doing, but either way, full council. The full council is made up of elected councillors, usually belonging to a range of different political parties. The full council debates on the decides upon policy based on the reports from the councils, committees monitor and review a council's performance and decision making process in order to ensure its accountability and to the public. Information is provided to the committees by council officers. Or there might be officers, I would say chair or perhaps administrators, or so to say. Someone should be responsible for this part. In councils without the cabinet, see below power and exercised by the committees made up of councillors in proportion to the party's responsibilities of the full council. Okay, let's look at cabinet. A cabinet is like the government of council, usually formed by the political parties that has most elected representatives in full council. It is the only group in the ally make decisions on certain areas of policy without the approval of the full council. Each cabinet member usually looks over the specific area, i.e., environmental, housing, adult social care, children services, or culture. Between 2000 and 2011, most councils were required to have leader and cabinet made rather than the committee system. However, since the Localism Act 2011 allowed them to, some councils have switched back to the committee system. Okay. I don't think people are being held accountable, by the way, of this system. I don't think people are, but let's progress. Leader of elected major, the political leader of social responsibility for the overall performance of the council as well as strategic directions and its relationship to the central government. Leader is elected by the rest of the council and the cabinet system. The leader then appoints the cabinet members. The leader often signs the local enterprise partnerships. Okay. That's a part related with business operations, right? Which should be important. Board, right? So there's a board, right? As of now, I have reached out to some of those councils. There might be 6 members, or so to say, depending what councils I'm going to be taking a look at later on today. There might be 6 members, and out of 6, there's all kind of people there. I have done a little bit of digging, but that's not necessarily representative of the rest of UK, but it depends, right? There might be people from, not necessarily from UK, from other parts of the world. Some people might be from all kind of different backgrounds, right? Some people are just there. People that are just there. Oh, that's the most interesting people I can think of, right? There's nothing with at the bios, descriptions or anything. They're just there, you know it. That's of my own interest, right? It's something that we're gonna be taking a look at perhaps later on today. Elected mayor performance in the summer, but directly elected by the residents rather than other councillors, and be elected mayors are different than elected lord mayors. Those jobs are largely ceremonial and don't hold any powers. Okay, let's finish on that, but that will be the overall summary, right? So that will be overall structure, how that structure would come into play, and how they would hold meetings, all those kind of good things, right? As of now, I believe that's a system, and perhaps some of the numbers might be off just because it's this information is 3 years old or so. It's about some of the numbers are off, but it can be off by a lot, right? So it's overall structure of how England, or how to wider England has been governed, right? So I'm just trying to understand it, and most likely just before doing anything, right? There might be a lot. Perhaps it won't take that long, perhaps an hour or so to do what I'm looking to do. Review all these documents, right? The 318. Briefly, right? Thought we can take a look at that. If you would ask me, some of the decisions, right, where potentially software can reduce the need of person doing anything, right? And we are taking a look at. Someone was taking a look at, using that example in presidential elections in the U.S., right? So they were using about 40,000 people and making some of those decisions. I can't remember what government body they were taking a look at within the US, right? And the need of those people being there, they can outsource a big proportion of that, right? That's 40,000, right, within the US. So now we're taking a look at there are roughly 17,000 councillors in England, right? So how much of that costs to taxpayers? So perhaps a lot of reductions can be made within operational costs. Need of depending of if I would reach out, there is nobody to respond to email. So why we would have these 17,000 if I would reach out to? There's no one responds. It's been I don't know perhaps more than 3 months and nobody can respond. So might as well if it's 17 right now, let's reduce that up to 3,000. Perhaps 3,000 someone can respond to emails and or request for comment. That would be great if you would ask me, but they would do a full breakdown, right? Of if that matters, skin color, all this kind of things, if someone cares, other than how much that costs. That's why I care. Let's take a look at numbers. What really matters, how much those 17,000 people costed taxpayers. That's why I'm interested in. Briefly, we can take a look at that, right? So that would be England and perhaps structure. Most England, there are two tiers, country and district, which is responsible for services split between the two tiers. Country council, council covers the entire country area, so it provides around 80% of the services, which the county, there's a several district councils which cover smaller areas, so provide more local services. So as of now, how they have broken down into responsibilities, right? If you would ask me, perhaps people and salaries and operational costs, can we reduce those? Since we are taking a look at the reduction, so it's a lot of crises going on at the same time, right? How can we reduce some of that cost? If there's 17,000 people, can we reduce it to 3,000? And where I can suggest this project. That's why I'm interested in. Quickly, right, myself, I'm looking to understand it as well as I perhaps can share that information with others. That would be most likely responsibilities, right? Who is responsible for what? And I would be looking to understand when it comes to business and or finance. So that's what I'm interested in. And let's take a look at it. That would be education, highways, transport planning. What exactly? What exactly all the people are doing in transport planning? I don't know. Let's forget passenger transport. Maybe all day, all the time we're doing a lot of planning. Okay. Social care, perhaps there's more intense there. Housing, libraries, right? In today's video, so we're taking a look at accounts, libraries. Perhaps they're doing their own thing, which is kind of great, I guess. Leisure and recreation, okay. Environmental health, waste collection, waste disposal, planning applications. So perhaps they do overview some of the documents, perhaps. Strategic planning, local tax collection. Strategic planning, I would like to break it down and see what they mean by strategic planning and or business over this. There isn't anything about the business. Let's take a look at payments is something that myself I'm looking to understand, right? Local government accounts for almost a quarter of all public expenditure in England. Quarter. What is it, 17,000 people, perhaps more than that. 17,000. There you go. That's was a lot of potentially improvements could be made, right? Grants for central government about 52% made up mainly from redistribution business rates, including the revenue support grant and or public health grants, right? So there's something support grants, right? So perhaps there might be something there, but that's so these people are not doing anything, by the way. The businesses are doing everything. Businesses are doing. These people are just overseeing. So they would take money from local, from central government and give to business, and these people are not doing. If you would ask me, not doing anything other than taking a look at checks, moving back and forward. And locally raised funds, about 42% is included in the council tax charged to local people. Here we go. That's pretty much what I need to know, but let's progress and see what else we can find. To put things into perspective before taking a look at how much do council spend, right? Before we take a look at that, let's do a balanced perspective, right? If you'd ask me, we need a person there, perhaps. I was taking a look at train station, and some people perhaps prefer to have a person there when it comes to managing tickets. Perhaps we need a person, right? And slowly, perhaps within 20 years, we don't need a person. When it comes to tickets, right? You can come to a train station, you can ask for a ticket, and perhaps software can do a better work, right? But as of now, let's take a look at how much the council spend. Perhaps it's good to have a person overseeing all the process, right? Perhaps it's good, but if you would ask me, let's take a look at the prices, how much it costs to have a person there, right? Let's take a look at the revenue expenditure, right? Total revenue expenditure for all English local authorities in 2021-22 was 110.3 billion. Which might be a lot. I don't know. Is it? So then I was taking a look at libraries, right? If you would ask me, libraries it should be somewhere in billions. It was in I think it was 143 million or somewhere around then gross revenue expenditure. I think that's a graph that I was taking a look at. But yeah, so if you ask me, most likely it would be in billions. But either way, in my opinion, doesn't matter. So other than how to get into this action, right? We're talking 110 billion, which might be a lot of money, I guess. I don't know. Some other things do cost a lot of money, right? But how can reduce that, right? So how can reduce that cost and perhaps the need of having people oversee some of those processes? So let's be, if we can, a little bit more productive. Let's close the video on that. That's something that I'm going to be doing in just a second. I thought might as well share that information with us. Thanks for watching. See you next one.